One thing I've realized about relationships is that sometimes the things that destroy them isn't hatred, it isn't betrayal, and it isn't even a lack of love. Sometimes people destroy good relationships because they don't fully understand themselves yet. And I say that as someone who has had to look back at my own life and realize that in some situations, I was the problem. Not because I didn't care, but because I hadn't faced certain parts of myself honestly. For a long time, I thought I understood what I wanted from a relationship. I thought I wanted connection, someone who genuinely cared about me. But looking back now, I realize something uncomfortable. Sometimes people believe they want love until they actually receive it, because real relationships do something that a lot of people aren't prepared for. It holds a mirror up to who you really are, and that can be difficult if you haven't made peace with yourself yet. A genuine relationship requires vulnerability. Not just the good parts of you, but the insecure parts, the flawed parts, the parts of yourself that you usually try and hide from the world. And when someone begins to see you clearly like that, it can feel uncomfortable. I think there were moments in my life where being seen truly made me uneasy. Not because the other person was doing anything wrong, but because I hadn't fully accepted myself yet. And when someone hasn't done that internal work, they sometimes start pushing away the very person that cares about them the most. Looking back, I can recognize patterns of self-sabotage in my own behavior, and I think a lot of people experience this without realizing it. You get close to something good, something stable, something real, and instead of protecting it, you slowly start damaging it. You create unnecessary conflict. You distance yourself. You might start seeking attention or validation from other places, not because you consciously want to destroy the relationship, but because deep down, something inside feels uncomfortable with the stability. Sometimes the issue isn't that someone doesn't want love. Sometimes the issue is that they don't believe they deserve it. If someone carries guilt about who they've been, or insecurity about who they are, being loved by another person can feel confusing. Because that love contradicts the story they've been telling themselves the entire time. And sometimes people resolve that internal conflict in the worst way possible. They behave in ways that eventually confirm their negative beliefs about themselves, almost like they're trying to prove that they were right all along. Another reason people destroy good relationships is emotional immaturity. And I don't mean that as an insult. I mean it in the sense that many of us were never taught certain skills growing up. Things like how to communicate honestly, how to handle conflict calmly, how to process difficult emotions. So when problems appear in a relationship, people often react instead of reflecting. They say things they regret. They make decisions in moments of frustration or insecurity. And sometimes those decisions slowly damage something that was once meaningful to them. One of the most painful experiences someone can have later in life is looking back at a relationship and realizing they played a much bigger role in its downfall than they originally thought. Not because they didn't care, but because they didn't understand themselves at the time. I think many people eventually reach a moment where they look back and realize they could have handled it differently. They could have been more patient. They could have been a better version of themselves. And those reflections can be difficult, but they do also signal that you are ready to grow. When someone becomes honest enough to reflect on their past relationships, they start noticing patterns. They start asking questions like, why did I react that way? What was I actually feeling in that moment? What kind of person do I want to become moving forward? Those questions are uncomfortable, but they're also the beginning of self-awareness. And self-awareness is what allows someone to stop repeating the same mistakes over and over again. Sometimes people destroy good relationships, not because they're incapable of love, not because they're evil, but because they haven't yet learned how to understand themselves. And until someone develops that self-awareness, they may continue to repeat the same old patterns without even realizing it. Sometimes the most painful thing a relationship teaches you is the person you still need to become.